Good evening. We'd like to welcome you to the Elmore County Commission work session dated Monday, August 12, 2019. We'll call this meeting to order. I'd like to welcome all of our guests here today. We appreciate you being here. We are going to begin our meeting with regular business, a review of the minutes of the July 22nd, 2019 Commission meeting. Mr. Byer, any comments there?
Yes.
Commissioners? Okay. All right, we'll proceed. Review the memorandum of warrants for the period of July 17, 2019 through August 1, 2019.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, the memorandum of warrants for that period of time was $1,337,165.14.
Thank you. Any comments or questions there? Okay, we are going to proceed with our new business. We've got several groups that are going to be represented today and presenting to the Commission. The first we would like to invite to the podium is representatives from Schneider Electric. Schneider Electric has done a great job of providing us with not only energy savings, but this is an opportunity for them to share with us the successes and allow us to see how some of these changes that have been made in the county facilities, how these have affected us. So, Zach, we'd like to turn the time over to you.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all's time today. Again, my name is Zach Burbs. I'm with the Performance Assurance team for Schneider Electric. I've got my team here with me. And the goal of today is really just a celebration. As you can see over here on the banner, some of you guys may not be able to see it, but you guys have surpassed $500,000 in energy savings in the project thus far. We have a 20-year savings guarantee of $4.4 million, and to be this far ahead of the guarantee that we have in place is fantastic. A lot of this, or the majority of it, comes from the scope that we have in place, moving everything from CFLs to LED lighting. We put in an efficient VRF centralized control system for Jimmy and his team to operate. A few of the other items are streamlining the county operations with that control system, and then also the retrofits on water consumption on all your facilities out here. So the biggest key on this is working with Jimmy and his team. Jimmy is the true champion of the system out here, and he does a fantastic job maintaining the system, making sure that all the units are operational. Yes, our biggest key is efficiency, but also we want people to be comfortable. And from those energy saving strategies that we have in place, that results in the savings that we're celebrating today. So again, fantastic job on behalf of us and as a partner with the Elmore County Commission. We look forward to continuing that success. And in the brochure that we handed out, it talks about the biggest key for you guys is making sure that we upheld the integrity of your buildings out here while also modernizing your facilities and bringing that comfort and efficiency gain in place. So with that, we just want to celebrate, and we appreciate y'all's time, and if you have any questions, we'd love to answer those here.
Thank you. We really appreciate the report and this information that provides us with a way to capture or to better understand the impact of the changes that were made and how they benefit us in finding that balance between comfort and savings. I think we're all celebrating the fact that we have comfort today inside, and I know that it's a monumental task to do that to a building like this, and as you said, maintaining the historical integrity of the building while also providing some of those needed changes. Do any of my fellow commissioners have any comments or questions?
I'd like to say I appreciate what y'all are doing.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we're here for the lifelong, haul the project, and as always, working with Jimmy, Mike Knighton. Sam's been a great help, and especially Richie as well. If you guys have any questions or anything like that, definitely let us know. But our biggest key is being transparent. So on a consistent basis, they're getting savings updates. Our biggest objective is to be proactive. So if we see any spike in utilities or energy consumption out here, as part of our PATH team, we want to come out on site, work with Richie, work with Jimmy, identify those areas because those are real dollar savings that you're either missing out on or obtaining. So definitely appreciate your continued partnership.
Thank you.
Zach, of course, this has been an ongoing project for a long period of time, and I can tell you as big of a presence, the greater of an impact that you've had on the building. I have heard very, very, very little negative about anything related to the project, your people, your company, and I appreciate that, because this is an old building, and there's a lot of areas that you were present in, and we appreciate you recognizing and respecting that fact. We're very proud of this building, and also the project is completely consistent with this current commission, where our main focus is, or one of our big focuses rather, is being very efficient with our taxpayers' dollars, and so we appreciate what you have done and have us stay consistent with that goal.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. That's all I have, Chairman.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay, well, we'd like to get a picture. If you could, we're going to just stand up where we're at, and we're going to bring that over, and if you gentlemen want to come up here with us, we'll get a picture together. Yeah, come on. Thank you.
Appreciate it. We appreciate what y'all doing.
All right, we'll proceed now. We'd like to invite Ms. Tay Knight from the Family Sunshine Center to come up to the podium and address the commission.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I'd like to say thank you for allowing me to come in front of you this afternoon and talk a little bit about the Family Sunshine Center. Last year, the Commission was very gracious in providing an allocation for our agency in the budget. And to tell you what a difference that made in our budget it's kind of hard to do, because we do keep track of how many individuals we're serving in each county and within our service area. But to know that we were able to bring in that kind of revenue in Elmore County to be able to serve victims in this county specifically, that was very important to us. So I wanted to bring you up to date on what we've done this year for fiscal year 17-18 for victim survivors in Elmore County. And I think you have a letter in your packet where we talk about this, but just to make you aware, in 17-18 we had 196 crisis calls from victims. We provided 649 days of safe shelter for victims from Elmore County and 1,450 hours of counseling and advocacy. Those are life-saving services for domestic violence and sexual assault victims, and you guys helped us provide that. Our figures for our cost of providing those services were just under $250,000, and so I'm requesting for you guys to add us or to keep us in the allocation budget for this year to help us to continue to provide those services. I want to share with you a couple of new things that we are doing at our agency this year. First of all, we opened a new counseling center in Wetumpka. On July the 31st, we had a ribbon cutting at high noon, and it was really hot on that day, just about like it is today. We talked a little bit inside and then went outside and snipped that ribbon really quick and went back inside. Having an office in Wetumpka provides greater access and easier access for victims. Transportation is typically one of the biggest barriers that we see with domestic violence victims, and so having that service more readily available where they live is very important. I'm not really sure what our service numbers look like for the first few weeks that we've been there, but I do know that that 5 or 6 new counseling clients have been taken in for services. So that makes me happy. I hope those numbers continue to go up, not because the problem's getting bigger, but because people are actually able to access the services more easily. In addition to a counselor that we have there, we also have a children's therapist who will be on site 5 days a week, just like the counselor will. And we're also adding a new position that will function in Elmore County and also in Autauga County, where we'll be opening an office later this month. They will help victims navigate the court system and law enforcement areas. For example, if they need a protection from abuse order and then they need to get it recorded and put in place, we will have an advocate who will help them navigate all that here in Elmore County and in Autauga County. That's big, because whereas Montgomery has what's called a Family Justice Center that can get you all those services right there at one place, Elmore County doesn't have that. So what we're trying to do is replicate those services just a little bit to make it easier for victims. So help them provide that service. And then in addition, we will be opening a shelter and providing counseling and supportive services for victims of human trafficking later this year. I don't know how much anybody knows about the problem of human trafficking, but I will tell you it happens in every community. It happens in homes. It happens in schools. It's happening with kids getting on and off of buses every day, even in Elmore County. So we have taken that mission on at the Family Sunshine Center and are designing programs and counseling and case management to help with those victims. We're in the process now of a due diligence period to purchase a facility that will be for safe shelter for victims. So we're looking forward to being able to open that up later this year. Anybody have any questions?
I don't have any particular questions. I do really appreciate the time and effort that you put to present us with all of this information. As you know, and as we expressed to you when you took the job and you came to introduce yourself, that one of the primary focuses that we have as the Elmore County Commission is the citizens of Elmore County, and we recognize that as the river region grows, Elmore County grows, and our communities grow. But we also want to make sure that our citizens are having their needs met, and so I appreciate that you not only are doing the things that were part of your mission, but you're looking for areas where our citizens their needs are not being met, and you're filling that void, and you're looking to try and make sure that we're ahead of some of those things that are happening. We love to hear that we do things before Autauga County, so we're glad that you have a place here. And we look forward to supporting that. Do any of my fellow commissioners have any comments or questions?
Can I also add that Butler County was not happy to hear that our first office was in Elmore County.
Oh, okay. Well, good. We'll see them in a few weeks.
We'll remind them. To tell you, unfortunately, you have to provide the service that you do have to provide. It's just the society we live in, and I as well appreciate what you do. I'm fortunate that they have an executive director such as yourself that can manage your organization, I'm sure, on a shoestring budget, so you can expand into other counties because you do recognize the need. So I'm glad you have a place here in Elmore County, and we look forward to continue to help support you.
Thank you. Thanks.
And I saw something where it said human trafficking on little girls was like $200,000 a year.
That's probably true. It is the second largest international business trade, second only to drug trafficking.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's awful. Thank you. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is Mr. David Hanks here? Okay. We will proceed. Consider ACCA Legislative Committee appointment. Commissioner Bart Mercer has served as our Legislative Committee appointee for Elmore County for the previous, 2 legislative sessions, and provided us with great feedback and developing relationships with our local delegation and with other associations that stand up for and represent the needs of counties throughout the state. And so we appreciate his service, and I propose that he continues to serve in that capacity. He seems to be willing to do so. Are there any other comments or questions on that? Commissioner Mercer, maybe you can reflect on your time and your desire to continue.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity. I have served, I guess it is 2 years as the Elmore County representative for the legislative committee for the ACCA, and I have enjoyed it. I think it's very important that we stay engaged as a county on the state level and also on the national level, and so this is one way I can be that conduit of information back to all of our county level officials, and so I appreciate the confidence.
I also support Commissioner Mercer.
Thank you. All right, we'll proceed. Discuss budget amendments related to Drug Task Force accounts with regards to federal regulations and to account for insurance proceeds and expenditures to replace losses. Mr. Byer.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, the Drug Task Force has two different things that is being asked to be considered tonight. The change in the regulations basically is moving funds from one type account to another so they can take advantage of the federal forfeiture laws and some changes that were made in the last 18 months. And the other would be to, we've been holding off on the insurance proceeds since the damage we sustained back in January to try to get a good accounting of everything that would be needed to replenish the supplies that were lost, but also get a good figure on the replacement for the building that was destroyed back in January. We are at that point now, and we're asking for the budget amendment to handle that. So we're getting the proceeds in, especially for the contents, that they should replace everything that was needed to be replenished, and then we're continuing to work on the replacement building. Some of that will spill over into the FY20 budget, and we'll talk about that when I bring up the where we stand on the budget here in a few minutes.
All right. Thank you. Any comments or questions there? All right, we'll proceed. Consider fiscal year 2020 holiday schedule. We make a concerted effort to approve our holiday schedule well in advance for all of our staff so that they are fully aware of those opportunities and know what to anticipate in the next fiscal year. So we have that information here. In addition to that, we also have the fiscal year 2020 commission meeting dates as scheduled for the second and fourth Mondays of each month, except for a few where we have holidays and the such where we have to modify that schedule. Any comments or questions there from commissioners on those two items?
Mr. Byer, looking at these dates versus last year, they're consistent with last year's dates, correct?
The holiday schedule is, and the two dates, the two holidays that you voted last year to make floating holidays,
right,
and give annual leave in lieu of those. We have put a provision in after discussion with a number of you that instead of those being replaced with 2 annual days, it's 3. That helps us with any kind of special edict by the governor to give an extra day here and there. That gives the employees that flexibility without having to have a special called meeting to deal with it. Commission meeting date-wise, yes, we're consistent in August and December. We're just the one meeting. I think the only real change, and Ms. Kim can correct me if I'm incorrect about this, but a couple of the meetings that we had set for Thursdays when a holiday occurred, we've moved those to a Tuesday just to make sure we have plenty of time to get our agendas in and things of that nature. So, long-winded answer, but just want to make sure I'm clear on that.
Thank you.
And I think you mentioned something I think it's important for us to address is related to the holiday schedule. We recognize that there are certain holidays that would be considered national or state holidays, and then there are other holidays that maybe one employer recognizes, a school system recognizes, another school system doesn't recognize. There are certain holidays that fall in that category, and in an effort to maintain the service that we provide to the public, which is very important for the courthouse and our facilities to be open, we want to make sure that we have those services available, but we also want to provide our employees with opportunities. If their children, for example, have a holiday, but it's not a holiday that the majority of employers are recognizing, we give the employees an additional day of annual leave. In this case, we've identified 2 floating holidays, and we're giving 3 annual days to each employee that they can use at within their family's needs, or to be flexible. If their kids have a holiday at school but they don't have a holiday at work, then they have an opportunity to make family plans around that. So it is truly an effort that we're making to try to accommodate those, but still have the facilities open to serve the public in renewing of car tags or any other services that are provided here. All right, we'll proceed now with consent docket, approved travel memo. Any comments or questions?
There was 2 items added to the travel memo that came in
Yes.
after the fact. If you just checked, you got updated. One is revenue, and one was an additional commission attendee.
Right. So we have an amended with the revenue with the mapping class. I see that. Any comments or questions there? All right, we'll proceed. Approve request for declaration of emergency illness for Finola Morgan, Tier 2 dispatcher. Approve request for declaration of emergency illness for Catherine Irvin, admin IT clerk. Approve 120 hours sick leave donation from Richard Morgan to Finola Morgan. Approve 40 hours sick leave donation from Christy Pullen to Catherine Irvin. Personnel notifications, notification of resignation of Adam Elliott, shop manager, effective 7/25/19. Notification of resignation of Jesse Hill, corrections officer, effective 9/6/19. Notification of resignation of Taylor East, corrections officer, effective 8/17/19. Notification of resignation of Jordan N. Denny, deputy, effective 7/26/19. Notification of resignation of Zachary Summerlin, deputy, effective 7/25/19. Notification of transfer of Kentavious Kendrick from corrections to patrol, replace Z. Summerlin, effective 7/25/19. Notification of change of status of Nathan Wyatt Owens from part-time to full-time corrections officer, replace K. Kendrick, effective 8/14/19. Notification of hire of Michael Shira, deputy, replace J. Denny, effective 8/18/19. We'll now proceed with reports to the commission. Mr. Byer.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, just a couple items. One related to Schneider Electric. Zach hit on it a few times, but Jimmy and his staff are integral in that. Jimmy has done an excellent job in managing that program and working with the different team members. I just can't say enough about the fact that he has embraced that, and there's other entities in the river region that are looking to us and the way that program was handled to help them do the same thing in terms of taking their savings and putting that into real improvements for the employees and the public. In front of you, you've got an updated version of the budget draft. This, I hope, will be in more in line with some of the comments that we've gotten back with some fine-tuning. We would hope that over the next few weeks we can finalize that and be in a position for the first meeting in September for you to consider adoption of that. There's not only the budget, there's some highlights on the front. I think I've tried to enumerate that with Mike Knighton, our CFO, to kind of show you the high points. I was actually at Commissioner Mercer's request, went and spoke to Kiwanis Club in Millbrook last week and talked a little bit about the budgeting and discussed the what you'll see when you see the balance sheet. But you'll see our revenues that are a little bit higher than normal because of some equipment rotations that happen every 3 years. But you'll also see our expenditures outpacing that. And that is not to be alarmed, because those expenditures are one-time big projects that we've been saving money up to perform. A lot of road projects and some capital projects that the money has been setting aside. So when you read through the highlights, you'll see those, and should give you some better information to be able to explain those differences. We also have the merit increases calculated in there. You can see those. That's the first bullet point in your highlights, so you can kind of see how that will play out in terms of the allocations that are intended for each department as we move forward with that process. On Rebuild Alabama, our signs are going up as of today. We will have pictures for Mr. Jimmy will have you some pictures in the next day or so. Most of those signs are out, so you'll start seeing those. Hopefully, you've got talking points on the program in general, but also Commissioner Mercer mentioned to me before the meeting, just a reminder that when we talked about the projects in general, we're gonna be spending about $1.1 million this first year in rebuild funds, and we've got an annual need of about $13 million, $12 to $13 million per year that we need to be doing. So somebody is going to not get their road handled as quick as they want, and we're well aware of that. But the good thing is we actually have some additional resources to start chipping away at that problem. So y'all will get questions about that, I know, and when you do, we will provide all the data that we can to help y'all with the decisions that have been made over the last several months in terms of getting those initial projects. And just as a reminder for anybody in the audience, 60% of the revenue in the first year will come in, so that revenue will grow over the next 2 years for the county commissions. So the other thing I wanted to bring to your attention was we have been dealing with Department of Corrections over the last couple weeks. Back in the early part of the year, they talked about problems with the recycling program. We're into the stages now where they're not sure how much longer, but they're telling us they will not be able to maintain that program, and they're going to have to mothball it and shut it down. We, along with Watauga County and some of our municipalities, are working through some of those issues right now, so we can kind of give a timeline and next steps for the public. We're not ready to say it's ready to be canceled, but we're also looking at all options on what we can do to kind of keep those functions going. So, Mr. Chairman, that's all I have in the way of report right now. Do y'all have any questions or comments for me?
Thank you. We'll now have reports to the Commission. Commissioner Holt.
I'd like to say I appreciate each and every one of you being here, and I appreciate tell you what you're doing with that Sunshine Center. That's a big deal. I appreciate Richie, what your team is doing. It makes a big difference, and we got some really good employees, and I think we need to be well aware of that and recognize them. So thank you again, and keep up the good work, Luke and Richie and the rest of you guys, Keith and everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Mercer.
Thank you, Chairman. I would just like to as well tell Mr. Byer and Mr. Mike Knighton there how much I appreciate the time y'all put into our budget. I spent the good portion of a morning, I guess it was last week, with these two gentlemen and reviewed the budget in detail, and there was a lot of thought put into it, and they answered all my questions, and I really appreciate you doing that. Many times, especially for y'all that have been here before, y'all know it's very common for me to talk about broadband and the lack of it in our county, and I have done that because I pick up most all issues related to economic development on behalf of the Commission, and we've been working with our Economic Development Authority to see what we can do to attract additional investment in broadband infrastructure in the county. Fortunately, as many of you have seen in the media here lately, that Central Alabama Electric, which they have stepped up and are making an investment in new broadband infrastructure in the county. If the co-ops did this back in the early 40s when they stepped up and decided they were going to make the investment to electrify the most rural areas of our county and of our state. And they're leading the way to do that for the need for broadband as well. Recently, I attended a kickoff of their construction project that actually started here in front of Russell on Highway 14 in Elmore County, the Russell building. And they will be installing a 400-mile fiber loop that will connect their offices and their 26 substations in a general area of central to northwestern part of Elmore County up through Coosa County, Tarver County, and that general area. with the service being provided to homes off of that initial fiber loop, I understand that could be an expansion off of the phase 1 in the future. That's very encouraging for those of us that even those of us that do have access, and also for people that don't have any access at all. I can tell you the cable went out at my house about 10 days ago, and I actually sat there as I was hearing my children complain about it and counted the number of devices in my house that operate off the Wi-Fi. And I'll be honest with you, it's kind of scary. It really is. So the need for broadband is definitely there. We also, as a part of that, CEDA, our Economic Development Authority, is in the process of conducting a broadband connectivity survey throughout the county. If you haven't taken the survey, please do. You can find it at elmoreeda.com/connect. What this is going to do is it's going to give us the ability to have a more clear vision of the availability of broadband throughout the county, and we hopefully can use it as a tool to sell to other providers, investors that will see the need throughout the county. They'll be able to see the demand and where they could potentially invest dollars in infrastructure to serve other citizens. So please, if you haven't filled that survey out, please do, and encourage your fellow citizens to do the same. That's all I have, Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Reeves?
Yes, I would just want to thank everyone for coming, and I want to encourage the citizens of Elmore County that if you have anything that you think that you can bring to this commission to make it better for the citizen here, feel free to do so. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate my fellow commissioners and their efforts to serve the citizens of the county. Just a couple of items within my district. As you have seen in the last about 10 days, they've initiated the road work in historic downtown Wetumpka. There's a big project that will take place. It's going to take several months, probably into November, before the project is complete, in an effort to make downtown Wetumpka pedestrian friendly. A lot of what you see will include green space and other and improved lighting along the roads. So I'd encourage you to not only obviously we want to be careful around construction and be safe, but we also want to continue to support the businesses that are in this downtown district that are or will have construction taking place. It's my understanding, and speaking with most of them, they will continue to stay open, but we want to make sure that we're continuing to support those businesses and during that construction. Also, if you'll notice when you exit, or you may have already noticed, the top of the hill here, the area that was beautified probably about 10 or 12 months ago with a grant that we received from the Alabama 200 Bicentennial Commission. The latest addition to that is the completion of my son Isaac Stubbs' Eagle Scout project, which includes some benches and a tree that was planted at the top of the hill to provide a better space, a more usable space. We look forward to having a ribbon cutting for the Bicentennial Park, which is what that location will be named, and we'll have that ribbon cutting announced once we have it confirmed that we'll have some representatives from Alabama 200 here for that. Lastly, just like to mention, Mr. Byer mentioned the merit increases that are incorporated into this year's budget. This commission has made a concerted effort over the last nearly 3 years of improving how we compensate our employees. We made big changes last year, and we initiated some conversations with our other elected officials and department heads on how we might incorporate merit-based increases for our employees, and obviously continuing to do evaluations of their work and their effort and how they're progressing in their respective fields. So I'm excited that we have, in consultation with the other elected officials and department heads, by their suggestion on certain things on how they would approach the merit-based increases, We've taken all of the information they provided and what their goals were on why we would want to do that and how it would benefit our employees and in turn benefit the citizens of the county. We took all of that information and we tasked our staff to put that together in a form that would fit within the budget that we have, and we're successful in doing that for this first year, and we look forward to continuing to develop that program in the coming years to retain our highly trained employees and keep them here in Elmore County. I'll now turn the time over to Kim for important calendar dates.
Next Monday, August 19th through Friday, August 23rd will be the ACCA Annual Conference in Orange Beach. Thursday, August 29th at 11:30 will be the Highway Department Labor Day Luncheon. Monday, September 2nd, the Administrative Complex will be closed in observance of Labor Day. Monday, September 9th is our next commission meeting. There's only one meeting in August. That meeting will be at 5 o'clock, and there'll be a report from the Extension Office prior to that in the Commission Conference Room. And Saturday, September 14th is the next countywide cleanup day from 9 to 1, noting the rotating location is the town of Elmore.
Thank you. We'll reconvene shortly. I'd like to welcome you to our Elmore County Commission business meeting dated Monday, August 12, 2019. We'll call this meeting to order. We'll begin with an invocation offered by Commissioner Mercer, following which Commissioner Reeves will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Chairman. Let's pray. Father, we thank you for letting us come here tonight, Lord, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to serve our fellow citizens, Lord. We thank you for taking care of us, and thank you for loving us. And Father, we just ask that you guide our thoughts and our conversations so we can best serve you and our fellow citizens. Amen.
Commissioner Holt?
Here.
Commissioner Daughtry? Chairman Stubbs?
Here.
Commissioner Mercer?
Here.
Commissioner Reeves?
We'll proceed now with our regular business. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the July 22, 2019 Commission meeting as presented during the work session?
I make a motion to approve them.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Is there a motion to approve the memorandum of warrants for the period of July 17, 2019 through August 1, 2019?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
We'll proceed now with new business. Is there a motion to approve appointing Commissioner Bart Mercer to the ACCA Legislative Committee?
I make a motion to approve Commissioner Mercer.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Is there a motion to approve budget amendments related to Drug Task Force accounts with regards to federal regulations and to account for insurance proceeds and expenditures to replace tornado losses?
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Is there a motion to approve fiscal year 2020 holiday schedule?
I make a motion to approve the schedule.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Is there a motion to approve fiscal year 2020 commission meeting dates schedule?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
All right, we'll proceed now with the consent docket. Is there a motion to approve the consent docket as presented?
I make a motion we approve it as presented.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Personnel notifications, notification of resignation of Adam Elliott, shop manager, effective 7/25/19. Notification of resignation of Jesse Hill, corrections officer, effective 9/6/19. Notification of resignation of Taylor East, corrections officer, effective 8/17/19. Notification of resignation of Jordan N. Denny, Deputy, effective 7/26/19. Notification of resignation of Zachary Summerlin, Deputy, effective 7/25/19. Notification of transfer of Kentavious Kendrick from Corrections to Patrol, replace Z. Summerlin, effective 7/25/19. Notification of change of status of Nathan Wyatt Owens from part-time to full-time Corrections Officer, replace K. Kendrick, effective 8/14/19. Notification of hire of Michael Shira, Deputy, replace J. Denny, effective 8/18/19. Are there any additional reports to the Commission? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Meeting adjourned.